you'll never amount to anything. I don't know why I even try to explain things to you. Like all of that stuff, right? It's so insulting. Inevitably, because of how human beings are wired, it's very difficult for it to not land and stick over time. And so the chronic shame statements in the form of contempt end up sticking to the person, and they start to feel and experience shame. And that actually leads to a host of expressing contempt in a committed partnership, a marriage, is, according to researchers, the most destructive thing that can happen in terms of relational dynamics in the marriage. I'm Dr. Don Russell, and I lead the Russell Healing Institute, and we have a program called Detox Your Marriage for women that wish they could find a way to stay in their marriage for their own reasons. Of course, we're not telling women what to do. Stay or go, that's your choice. But if your choice is to stay, we help women flourish in their situation where they're planted by transforming themselves using advanced clinically proven techniques and tools, and consequently improve their relationship. Now, again, I'm Dr. Don Russell, and I'm a therapist for almost 30 years, but I'm not your therapist. So take this information and as education, but not as therapy. Let's get into contempt. It is nasty. It is corrosive. Dr. John Gottman, couples therapist researcher, calls it sulfuric acid to love in relationship. Like, how graphic, how gross does it get? He calls it that because his clinical research studying how couples do conflict, that research has revealed that this is the strongest predictor of the demise of the relationship. Because at its core, expressions of contempt they're criticisms, but they're deeper. They're insults, they're attacks on the character, they're shame statements, right? And it's extremely difficult to come back from a shame statement. And over time, hearing shame statements in the form of contempt, you're an idiot, you're a loser, you'll never amount to anything. I don't know why I even try to explain things to you. Like all of that stuff, right? It's so insulting. Inevitably, because of how human beings are wired, it's very difficult for it to not land and stick over time. And so the chronic shame statements in the form of contempt end up sticking to the person, and they start to feel and experience shame. And that actually leads to a host of physical health concerns. So super destructive for the relationship, absolutely, and also destructive for the recipient. In this video, I want to unpack what to do instead. First of all, I want to just touch on, if the woman is the contemptuous one, the one issuing contempt. And you know what? Women can be very, very skilled at contempt because it is a verbal form of power. It is a verbal form of re-empowering themselves. Like, I'm not recommending it, it's destructive, but this is what it is in its essence. It's a form of empowering herself when she feels disempowered by the husband's behavior. And it is really an expression of verbal rage, but kind of a passive-aggressive expression of rage. So that's what's going on inside. If that's you, you got to stop it if you want the marriage to persist. It's just that simple. How do you stop it? Well, you replace it. You reflect within yourself, and you work within yourself to create a culture, an attitude within yourself of appreciation and respect. Is there anything good about him that I can find when I reflect and meditate? Is there anything good about my life that I can appreciate? And while you're at it, is there anything good about myself that I can be grateful to myself about myself for, right? So we're building a mindset of appreciation and respect, and over time, that needs to be expressed. That's going to feel hard. That's going to feel risky. That's going to feel like, why should I have to do that? Well, because you've decided that you want the relationship. If you don't want the relationship, I mean, that's your choice. But if you do want the relationship, then this is the work that you have to do if you're the one that is being convicted of contempt in your relational interactions. On the other side of the coin, what happens if you are the recipient of contempt? Is there anything that you can do? Well, absolutely. You're not powerless. You're not powerless. If your husband or partner is doing contempt to you, so insulting you, you're an idiot, you're a loser, all of those shame-inducing jabs, step one, do your own internal work with self-talk. Re-establish your identity within yourself. Remind yourself of who you are, whether that is a Christian re-identification. I'm a daughter of the Most High King. That's who I am. Or whatever worldview you hold, use your spiritual worldview to reestablish your own identification of yourself with yourself. Super important, super hard to do, and that is one of the tasks that we engage with women in our detox, the marriage program, and we are very good, very skilled, and very effective at facilitating that work with women to help them to really, really claim and hold on to very tightly, very securely a strong self-image in their mind, in their body, in their spirit. Super important, super powerful, and super hard to do without support, without expertise guiding you. What else do you do if you are on the receiving end of contempt? Well, you recognize that by faith you sort of look at your husband or your partner and you recognize, wow, this is a human being that clearly is frightened, terrified, feeling inadequate. I'm not asking you to feel sorry for him. I'm just asking you to have eyes that see what is behind the mask, what is behind the costume of hostility. There is a person who feels inadequate. Now, if that makes sense, and I'm pretty sure that makes sense, if that makes sense, then that tells you a couple of things. One thing it tells you is there's no sense fighting back. It's not going to be productive. It's not going to be in your best interest, so don't bother fighting back. He calls you an idiot. Don't fight back with more contempt. That's just escalating the conflict, and that's not in your best interest. Right? I'm not protecting him, I'm protecting you when I say that. Super important. So, scared, frightened, inadequate is his perception of himself. And so he's basically doing the adult version of schoolyard bullying, right? From an adult perspective, a school ground bully is bullying because they've been bullied and they feel very inadequate within themselves. And so they're using the bullying to make themselves feel better about themselves. That makes sense. If that doesn't make sense, leave a note in the comments. Subscribe to the channel while you're at it so you can get more information on how to help if you're in an extremely difficult marriage and you want to find a way to stay. So you're not going to fight. You're not going to add gasoline to the fire and call names back, throw contempt back. You're going to play the long game. You're going to let it pass because it's not about you. It's about him and his inadequacy. You're going to wait till he's cooled off and in a moment where he is feeling less frightened, less terrified, more calm. You're going to gently say, hey, what I would like instead from you sometimes is I would like to hear something positive about us. Probably safer to ask it about us rather than asking it about yourself. Because if you're asking it about yourself, then you're begging. And that's not sexy. So ask it, hey, can you think of, some good times that we've had together? And you might say, yeah, at that time we went to camping at the lake and it was sunny and blah, 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 right? So you're shifting his attention to his disempowerment, his inadequacy, to what's shared and what's positive about the relationship. That's totally legit. It's totally wise. It's totally strategic. It's not manipulation. It is influencing the relationship. One of the things that we highlight for women that we work with in our Detox the Marriage program is we help women to recognize and to own that they have tremendously more power to influence the relationship than they know. It's very common to be feeling disempowered because of the difficulties in the relationship. It feels hopeless, it feels helpless, it feels disempowered. But the reality is you have tremendously more power than you know. All right. So click the link below to find out more about the Detox the Marriage program through Russell Healing Institute. Leave a comment, subscribe to the channel so that you're one of the first to hear of new content that comes out on this channel. All right.